This week, 6 women went to space in a giant phallus. It's remarkable, it's amazing, it's column inches, it's far more important than the silly things that happen in this world. Socrates said strong minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and weak minds discuss people. Well, in modern society we have the echo chamber of social media to work down to the lowest common denominator, and most of it ends up being about people. This is pitched as a breakthrough moment in female empowerment. And we're told that they're astronauts. Well, astronaut's a very broad phrase. It can be interpreted in all sorts of ways. Normally it would mean a person who goes to space in control of their ship, and certainly the FAA believes they're not astronauts because they weren't in control of the ship. They basically were Amazon parcels sent into space by tech mogul Jeff Bezos. I have nothing against Amazon. I have nothing against Jeff Bezos overall. But this is a publicity stunt. It's nothing more. It gets them column inches, good for them. For those people who saw him give a free ride to Shatner but don't actually pay enough attention to space to know what Star Trek is, then this is a breakthrough moment. Oh, and they were all women. Well, there's quite a lot of women have been in space, and those actually drove the ship. Whereas really this was a sub-orbital. That means they didn't enter space proper. Where space begins is very broadly defined, and they barely scrape the edge of what's defined as space. They spend a few minutes up there, and then we're told they've changed the world. Really? No. It's a stunt to get some publicity for Blue Origin's mediocre space activities. They've used the Senate against SpaceX. They've made many attempts to get in there. They've taken action against NASA. And they've done well. They've got a spaceship, and a spaceship that takes off and lands and works for tourists. But when those 6 women mounted Jeff Bezos's phallic-shaped ship, really, they weren't astronauts. They were parcels delivered to space as part of a publicity stunt. They clearly had weightlessness. They clearly didn't have control of a ship, and it does open bizarrely, the door. It doesn't really behave like a pressurised hull, does it? I think it's great. I'm glad they enjoyed it. I don't envy them, but I would certainly like to be weightless like that. I think it's a wonderful experience. I think it's a way of publicising getting into space, and I would like to see a return to space. We have done nothing substantial to progress humanity. We've walked away from space over the decades, and we are going back to the moon, and we will go to Mars, and I'm kind of glad we will. And if this is a step in that gap, I'm glad. But to think that a man paying for 6 women who have no training to go in the back seat of a spaceship that doesn't actually enter space is empowering women, then it shows me how much we cloy and grab to say we're empowering women in such meaningless sense. Empowering a woman in space is allowing her to learn and excel and fly in space. Fly, actually control it. I've taken the bus a lot of times. Does that make me a bus driver? I took a train last week. Maybe I'm a train driver. I want my long holidays, short hours, and exorbitant salary, please. To me, this flight and the big hoo-ha and fuss about it isn't really female empowerment, and it's not really about space. It's about promoting Blue Origin, and it's about Jeff Bezos's midlife crisis. Why else would you make your ship look like that? Has he not watched The Dictator? I want it more pointy, but it's not efficient. I want it more pointy. It's got to be pointy. It looks more scary. Well, what was he saying when they designed the new gland? Extend it a little bit, make it bigger. But in modern society, everything has to be about empowering some group. Oh, it's great that our flight is entirely female pilots. Who cares? I don't care who flies my plane. I just want them to know how to fly. And ask the New Zealand Navy how that turns out. They pretended for a long time that the ship didn't crash due to incompetence. But then it turns out they were so busy to have a DEI hire that they didn't actually check whether she was trained or qualified to sail that boat, and she wasn't. Oh, well, that was an expensive mistake, wasn't it? What I felt was missing from the female empowerment was seeing the woman with the joystick actually flying the ship from the ground like a radio-controlled aircraft. Because that would show that a woman actually did something to get them into space. I mean, this is the modern world. I'm sure loads of women did a lot to get them into space. But those passengers, to suggest that they pushed female empowerment, says more about the vacuous nature of modern, and I'm sorry to the Americans, American culture, that everything always has to be about celebrities. You know, a celebrity has earned some godlike status. Well, they're a good singer or a good director, or they look pretty on screen, or they're famous for being famous. None of that really makes you worthy of listening to. Just look at De Niro, one of the greatest actors of all time, who therefore thinks that he's a political consultant. Call me sexist, but I don't find some women going into space empowering to women. I kind of expect that women go into space. They are members of society. They are half of society, and they do nearly half of the jobs that are paid, and probably a lot more of the unpaid ones. Is it so remarkable that some women sat in a ship while it entered space? If you can marry a tech titan, he's going to share his phallus with you. What disappoints me with the universal coverage of this is that, really, we live in a world where we are years away from being on the moon and having permanent space base there and having a presence on Mars and exploring the universe in a way we never have before. Yet, the average person doesn't know that. They do know that Katy Perry went to space and there weren't any fireworks.